The Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast is dedicated to all things Horus Heresy. This podcast delves into the grimdark universe where Primarchs clash, legions rise, and loyalties fracture faster than a Land Raider's track. But it's not just about the lore of the Horus Heresy. The Accountabilibuddies also explore the gaming side of things, from painting and modeling tips to product reviews and ideas to help you in your hobby. So, whether you're a seasoned Forge World veteran or a fresh-faced scout, this podcast is your Vox channel to the galaxy. Expect discussions on lore, modeling, gaming, and maybe even the shenanigans that your hosts somehow seem to find their way into. Remember, in the grim darkness of the far future, there are only two things you can count on: heresy and your trusty Accountabilibuddies.
And welcome to episode 142 of Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jack, with my fellow hosts of
Ryan,
Duncan,
Jamie,
and John.
and Jack. Before we get too far into it, we're going to do a quick station identification.
Do you love resin bases? Then go to our sponsor, Elric Hobbies, for all of your basing and basing accessory needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a discount. Legendary Monument Hobbies. Monument Hobbies is a one-stop shop for all of your painting needs. Use code HERESYABB at checkout for a 5% discount on your purchase. Pop Goes the Monkey. Find maker of third-party accessory bits of arms, legs, backpacks, and more, where you can get 10% off your first order over $125 with code HERESYABB at checkout.
Station identification. And thank you to our patrons. Without you, nothing is possible. So with that taken care of, hobby. John, do you want to get us started?
Yeah, so this week I did a little bit of prep work for some games we had locally. Drove down to Houston this weekend for a couple games with some guys from Louisiana. That was fun. Got to play my second and third games with the Knights. Last week I played my first. I can definitely say I learned a little bit more than we talked about on the Knight episode. I built a Knight cheat sheet that I'll be publishing shortly onto the Facebook page. It's something you can kind of print out and put behind your Knights. I'm going to work on maybe something you can print off as stickers and stick to poker chips, and that way you can keep your vows handy as you collect them off during the missions. But I think Knights have a big problem in the fact that this isn't a game of activations. We all know that, but it almost does seem like you're outmaneuvered by the fact you have so few models. I was trying to be nice and not take the Asterius in a bunch of lists, but these guys this weekend were definitely geared towards more kind of dick kicking lists. And so I said, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to put the Asterius in. And I can say it does what we thought it was going to do. It looks at things that you want removed from the table, and it removes them from the table. But after playing 3 games, I can say that that's about the only thing that could do that in Knight list. Even the Castigator, Mr. Giant Chain Gun and Cool Doom Sword can't reliably kill squads on his own, even with multiple firing rounds and a charge. With Reaping Blow gives you a couple extra attacks on that sword, or a couple, 6, and then Reaper Chain Swords get an extra 2 attacks. 2-gun Questoris are pretty much completely useless. When they get into combat, they have no AP, but they have a high strength. And so you need the Chain Sword or the Gauntlet on there to get you some type of AP. All the Knights are weapon skill 4, even if you upgrade them to your Lord, so you're not going to be hitting very often. The kind of Eternal Warrior-esque on the Lord does help out a lot. So I would always take it, even if you didn't want the extra reaction point that's in there. Knowing when to use your Shields Up reaction, or All Power to Shields, or whatever it's called, where you get bonuses against the next shot, but lose it, -1 to all subsequent shots, is really going to be what kind of keeps you alive. And you're probably always going to have to use that late game gambit of being able to double points, because you're always going to be playing at least 4 points down in the minimum. if you take that warlord, because they get giant killer and slay the warlord at the same time if they kill that knight. So you've got to think about every mission right now has giant killer in it. It can only trigger once, but at the minimum it's worth 2 points. The maximum it's worth 4 points per mission. So I hate to say it, but the Asterius and the Porphyrin might be auto includes or almost needed, so that way they can actually do something in the game. The game that I played with the Asterius, he had 4 models left on the table: 2 rapier crewmen left over from a crew of 3 guns, a chaplain, a Spartan on 3 hull points, and Typhus. He won 32-16.
Oh.
And that was even with me doubling the points in the last turn, and that gave me 8 points. I had 1 armiger that just sat there and capped objectives all game. That was worth 2. I was getting 2 points a turn. He was getting 10 with 2 different line units. I just couldn't kill the line units and kill the things that were killing my knights. So I think they require a lot more playtesting. I don't think that they're as scary as they were before, because even crack grenades on average will take them down. A decent tactical squad can bully the hell out of a knight, especially once you start getting statuses on them. The stomp reaction is really good because you don't get stomps anymore in combat. You can use it as a reaction. If someone moves within 8 inches of your knight, you can stomp by putting a 3-inch blasting plate and base to base with your knight and hit everything that touches. And so I think that can kind of be used to soften up stuff out of the assault phase. But the problem is something has to move near the thing that you're in combat with. It's done at the end of their movement, so you can't use it to catch someone as they run away from you, because they'll get away from the 3-inch template. So I think if you're wanting to play pure knights and armigers, I think that there's a definite uphill climb. I think you almost have to play the mecha-lined house, because there's the vow that gives you +2 scoring points the first time you score points, which helped a lot. It gave me into an early lead. I had 6 at the end of my turn 1, and he at the end of his turn 1 had 10. So it was not a complete lead by the end of the turn. But I think that the biggest problem is that you can't kill enough or put enough statuses down quick enough to start stopping the capping. But yeah, that was basically what I did these last couple weeks. Was just play play 1 game the last couple weeks, and then 2 games this weekend. What about Duncan?
Sorry, Duncan was blowing his nose and didn't figure anybody needed to see that or hear that. Last week, the week since our last recording, I've all but finished there it is. The Demolisher with the laser destroyer on it.
Laser Vindicator?
Yeah, that's it. Laser Vindicator. That's how much my brain is not functioning tonight. I finished that. I've literally got to do the final seal on it, and he's done. I acquired some marine bodies that I'm working on getting assembled, so I can get started on them this week. I've got a character who's being used for a Centurion. I'm going to have him and 20 tactical Marines I'm going to work on together. So that's the start. But that's planning mostly for this week. The past week I was on vacation out of state, and I took stuff with me and I did nothing. So I'm a terrible person. What did you do this week, Jamie?
Lots of soccer. No, I've been working on my Titan today, like mainly the weapons, and then I got some of the adhesive transfers that I ordered, like not transfers, but stencils I ordered. So some of the most of the upper body is done. So like literally all I'm working on right now is like the weapons, the anti-aircraft guns, and like the base stuff. And then I'll be down to weathering. So I don't have much left. What about you, Brian?
Didn't really work on any models. Mostly been doing deep dives, figuring out the ins and outs of these Demons of the Runestorm, and getting stuff around for the Michigan GT, which is this coming weekend, October 3rd through 5th. Yeah, it's been the extent of the hobby progress up here in the north. What about Jack?
I have bought stuff to organize my hobby table that has now turned into a catch-all for everything right now. And still been playing with lists in the background, trying to find something fun to play with. So I think that
I look
covers.
forward to seeing that next week.
Yeah. I think that covers everybody's hobby progress, right?
Looks that way.
All right. So that takes us to the news.
So I'm going to skip
Dun,
last
dun,
week's
dun.
preview article since that dropped this week. So we had previews go up for the Fellblade in plastic for 210 US, Mark II Assault Squad of 10 Marines for 73, and the combat forces go up for 170 apiece. And then the Saturnine book for 29. All really cool pre-orders that we've been waiting forever for. I've already got my pre-orders in for the book, the tank, and one squad of Marines so far. I'm looking forward to those coming in. Dropped this week was a bunch of Warhammer Underworld stuff, some more Old World stuff, and Legions Imperialis is getting some combat forces. So we've got a Marine combat force, a bunch of tactical Marines, some Century guns, command sections, Dreadnoughts, Rhinos, Kratos, and Sicarans. Mechanicum has a bunch of stuff. And Solar Ox has a bunch of guys, Ogrins, Sentinels, Rapiers, Tarantulas, Russes, Baneblades, and Dracosans. So looks like we're getting that stuff out. GW announced the plush we talked about a couple weeks ago, and a full-size Blood Bowl ball plush. So you can play out all your football needs.
There was also some Black Library stuff though too.
Oh, is there some? Oh yeah, the Yark book, and then the Heresy collection is being released. The Eidolon book from the Heresy, the Fulgrim book. It's coming out. Is that German?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was the good book with Rylan Orr in it, I think. We also saw the re-release of Assault Terminators. So in Legacies, you can take Indominus Terminators with Thunderhammer Storm Shields and Lightning Claws. Those all got a scale increase in posability. There's also a Terminator banner guy and a new set of fancy decals.
Yay, Nichols.
GW is doing a year celebration for Space Marine 2. All you have to do is sign up on their mailing list. If you're already on their mailing list, you have to sign up again to win this, and you also have to follow the company that makes the game, Focus Entertainment, on Instagram, and you'll be entered to win a bunch of Joy toys or a starter set for 40K. I know they spam you a lot, but free stuff is free stuff from GW. It's few and far between. Inductee rules got dropped this week. So every Legion got a new set of models. I can say the Ultramarine one was pretty much unchanged. They got some new weapon options, and that was about it. World Eaters ate pretty happy. They got not only the unit, but they also got a new prime advantage for their apothecaries. I think we're going to break this down maybe next episode or episode after. Give us some time to go through this.
Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are
Some of them definitely are but there's some pretty good gems in here.
Yeah.
There was some really good reading in there. It's what I did like is that they're not 110% different than they were last edition. So people that had models converted don't have to rip them apart.
Yeah, I was super happy because I already had a squad of Dark Angels converted, and I don't have to rip off arms. So yay! Anyways, yeah, that's the preview for that. Let's call it that because we'll go into deep dive later on.
Yeah. Dawn of War 4 dropped a new trailer with actual gameplay in it.
Yay!
Didn't look too terrible. Warhammer merch is doing a Halloween theme, and to kick that off, they picked the spookiest legion, the Night Lords. They have a fancy new shirt and a banner that looks like it's ripped straight out of the Forge World decal sheet for your wall. For $46.99 US, you can get a large Space Marine banner, 107 centimeters by 54 centimeters.
It's not this one behind me.
It's not any of ours, so that's
It's
not
not
the
this.
important
It's
part.
not one directly behind me because that
Yeah.
would be really awesome if it was.
They had an Ultramarines one that's tattered that's on the back of my door, but I haven't seen it come back out since. It was really rare for some reason. Merchoid only had it for like a week.
That's one of the Forge World Weekender banners. That's the Night
Yeah.
Lord Tempter. So
Joy Toy dropped a whole bunch of stuff. So we got the Sons of Horus Praetor in Cataphracti Terminator armor with Combi Melta and Mace. And it comes with a back banner that's removable. We got the Legion Champion for the Traders. It's a cool model. I kind of don't know if I want to recreate some of my 28 millimeter scale conversions in Joy Toy scale, or if I just need to stop buying shit. That's what I need to do.
yeah,
That's the problem, is they keep making like the exact same model, and they're easier to pose and they have cooler bits.
Or bigger. It's the same
Yeah.
model but scaled up.
Yeah. And sometimes they're like, oh, where this didn't work on the model, now it works on the toy better. Like this guy's ape didn't work that well unless you built it just right, but on this Joy Toy figure it works perfectly. The Apothecaries came out, the Mark 6 Horus, Sons of Horus. This default stock pose they use for the first image looks like he's trying to take a tactical shit. And then the other one is the Mark 5 in Imperial Fist colors, both with Narthesiums and chain swords. GW also put up for Warhammer merch. They're doing pre-orders for their 2026 calendars, since we're coming to the end of another year.
I'm gonna say loading up for Christmas.
Included in that is, of course, a Horus Heresy artwork.
Yeah.
We've got
Is there anything new? Saturn
mainly book covers and art fronts of boxes.
What's
Not
that one
terrible.
what's the one in the bottom left? Is that Thousand Suns?
Night Lords, it looks like.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Kurz in the middle with some Night Lords.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was the cover of the Kurz book.
I don't think that is. I don't think it is.
But it's nice to see they pick some good artwork. Sometimes they
Yeah.
pick reruns. Displate has taken a lot of their previously existing displays and re-released them as what they call their Textra feature. So this takes part of the artwork and embosses it. And so the first one that I saw that was really cool is the Final Confrontation. This was Into the Death Volume 3's cover with the Emperor jumping at Horus. And allows you to kind of play with it in 3D space. You can see where the raised textures are. So the Emperor is really embossed, Horus is embossed, the Vengeful Spirit, all the stuff in the background's embossed, but all of Horus's kind of dark energy stuff is not embossed. So it makes it a really cool piece of artwork. If there was something you were kind of on the fence about Displate, you were thinking about it, you can look at it. Just know that Textra adds some money to your purchase. So think about that before you purchase it. Jack, are you ready for Starforged?
Oh my god. Oh, $65. Okay. I'm with you so far.
It looks
First
like
up is
a diabetes
the
bracelet.
Steel Oath of the Imperial Guardsman bracelet. Like Jamie says, it looks like a diabetes bracelet.
I was gonna go with
But it's
Laugh
got
Alert.
I'm allergic to pork penicillin, so
Can you
So
switch
the-
that to the silver plate version with the 18 karat wings and the silver chain?
We're getting there. It starts at $65 with a simple chain.
Okay.
But since I'm allergic to stainless steel chains, I would probably go for the sterling silver chain.
Oh
350.
my god!
$335. But wait, there's more. If you
No.
add 18 karat gold to the wings,
Oh my!
Jesus Christ!
That's a
and
house payment.
listeners that can't see it, $1,300 for your guardsman bracelet.
That's a mother.
Listen, guys. Listen, you can't put a price on your medical alert bracelet, okay?
Apparently they can.
They can, apparently. Yeah. I think an ambulance trip may be cheaper than that. I mean,
Yeah, that one gave me some sticker shock. Even from GW, I've never seen a comma in something this small.
Question for our viewers, if we have anybody in the medical billing fields, can I have my health insurance pay for this?
Just describe the back with your medical information.
what you're allergic to. It's your life alert.
It's got a lot of room on the back.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you could definitely put on your blood type, the fact that you have all of the BDs and everything else. Yeah.
And spending problems.
Yes. Budgetary issues.
The other thing that came out is a Mechanicus Belisarius Call wax seal set. So this is a bust of Belisarius Call, and the base doubles as a wax seal. You get a Mechanicum coin and a little trading card that's the surface of Mars. Let's see where the actual, there it is. The seal is just the Mechanicum logo. So you melt, it comes with a bunch of wax. You melt the wax, you put it on the paper, and you stamp the thing on it while it's still melting.
And let me guess. Okay, that's
$145. When I bought the,
but not like a car payment.
yeah, when I bought the Gulliman one, it was only like $90, which was still expensive, but it wasn't that expensive.
Wax has gone up a lot in price, man. Those tariffs.
Yep. Expensive bees. Only the finest hive bees.
I wonder how much those hive bees waxes cost.
And so that's all the official GW stuff. Now I've kind of got some offshoot stuff. This was a Kickstarter I did a long time ago, almost 2 years ago, called Dead Earth Miniatures. They finally released their stuff, and they're selling the STLs as well as resin printed versions of their stuff under Spectre Miniatures. And so if you go to Spectre Miniatures, there's Dead Earth Miniatures. These are upscaled versions of the old Space Crusade Scouts, as well as what they call Dead Earth Crusaders. So the Space Crusade Scouts come with pistol and knives, or pistols and chain blades, or rifles that look like bolt guns or shotguns. The STL is as much as a physical squad, which is kind of sucks. But the Dead Earth Crusaders would work really well for Duncan's idea of the chaff for the Thunder Warriors.
And they're selling the
I'm-
STL for these, or this physical?
Physical and STL.
How much are the STLs?
The same cost as a physical unit.
$53 for 5.
Yep.
Smoking the crack rock. Sorry.
I'm going to stick with my idea for them being the ones from Lost 30K.
Mm-hmm.
In that Kickstarter.
Those STLs are a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Like I said, I got the prints of these. They were a lot cheaper than that when they were on Kickstarter. There's a couple of Kickstarters that I saw this week. They're pretty neat. One of them is Union of Lost Suns by Industrial Warfare STL Miniatures. This is very Soviet-inspired militia. I think it's supposed to be Trench Crusade, but you can definitely tell they're going for the guardsman / militia look. They've got vehicles that fit a lot of the militia stuff. They've got Tesla troopers that are kind of ogre-y looks. They've got high power armor.
Dude, that guy looks like thing from what's that video game? The
Yeah.
Underworld.
Yeah, the middle one looks a lot like Big Daddy from
Big Daddy, yeah.
from BioShock, the prototype
Yeah.
Big Daddy one. There's some mining vehicles, and then to go along with this, they've got some reclaimed mutants that are totally not supposed to be Tyranids. And so I'm just scrolling through them here that we can all see on there.
Go up a little bit on the Russian guys.
These are the
15
conscripts.
conscripts. Okay.
So you get a bunch of different poses. They're not, a lot of them aren't multi-part. Some of the Ogrins and the shock troopers were multi-part, but the conscripts aren't. This is the way their cloaks work and things. But it
Okay.
gives you a lot of flexibility if you wanted to build an army out of them. And when you're looking at, was it $57 for an entire army?
Yeah, that's pretty neat. Some of this stuff's really would really work, as you said, well for Solar Rocks. Or not Solar Rocks, but
Yeah.
militia.
Yep. We've also got the Outbound Station, the Habitation Ring. It's another 3D printable STL. This kind of looked like Fallout, but more 70s sci-fi look instead of 50s sci-fi. And
It
so
does
this
kind
is
of look
done-
like Logan's Run interiors.
Yeah, it's got a lot. Everything is built off a grid system, and so each piece is either one or two grids across, one or two squares across, and so you can lay out your entire modular factory or tab block,
Oh,
bunk
nice.
beds, things like that. Yeah, this is really cool if you wanted to build an entire spaceship interior or Zone Mortalis. They've got hydroponics bays. You can print them at different scales. And then a quick little video of how they assemble them all together. And they're designed just to click together and click out, so that way you don't have to glue everything. They've used this grid forge system before in a couple other Kickstarters they've had. So if you've got other stuff by this company, you can use those. And they also have a collector's edition Kickstarter that has all their other 7 previous Kickstarters. So combine everything together. Bunch of cool add-ons for crew lounge, game tables, food clutter, hanging synth meat. Some cool stuff that they've made before. The only other semi-official stuff we've got is a few screenshots that came out. So Joy Toy announced that they're going to be making the new Sanguinary Guard models. Nippleless freaks that they are. All 3 models are going to get their own releases. And then the Deathwing Terminators are going to get a release as well. These are not the ones from Heresy. These are the ones from 40K, the new scaled up Deathwing Knights.
Hey, John.
Okay, so we got 2 more little pieces of news. First is Army Painter released their NDA, no drama announcement. And so basically what they're saying is anyone that paints for them can go and paint for anybody else. They don't really care what's going on. No gag orders, no exclusivity, no gatekeeping, no rules. So
Hey,
work for
John,
Army Painter.
what's this in response to?
I would imagine that other companies have not been as cool to some of their painters.
Has anything like that been in the news lately that you've heard?
No, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, me neither. Which is why I'm wondering what prompted this to drop out and be kind of pointed lately.
Okay, you're going to have to catch me up outside of this because I have no clue what the hell you're all talking about.
Okay. Yeah, let's move on.
All right. Last piece of news.
I didn't understand that.
So Blizzard has announced that they're teaming up with I forget what the company is, that they're making a miniature game for StarCraft.
Wouldn't that just be Warhammer 40K?
Yeah, the table has gone completely 180 degrees. For those that don't know, Warcraft started because Blizzard came to GW and said, we'd like to make a computer game of your miniatures, and GW told them that computer games were for children. And so they made Warcraft. And so now StarCraft is making its own miniature game.
Yeah, well, they also made, but StarCraft was originally like, it was Space Marines, Nids, and Eldar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like the way it was originally envisioned and everything, and they'd already started working on it before like GW's kind of pulled the rug out from underneath them.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is I've seen kind of vague hints of models. I've never seen anything up close or anything like that. It looks closer to Fallout by the number of cards they have on the table and counters and things like that. And also the scale, the models that I've seen seem closer to 32 or 40 millimeter. But probably closer to the some of the other games that are out there, like Fallout, as well as the Halo miniature game and things like that. So not quite GW scale, but probably still stuff you can steal for conversions if you want to. Just something to keep an eye on out there if you want to have other cool looking models in your forces. But that's really everything I've got in the news.
Very cool. Thank you, John, for always staying on top of everything and giving me mild heart attacks over the price of somebody's medical alert bracelet. Jesus.
Yeah, that's quite the medical alert bracelet there.
Do we need to chip in and get Brian one of them?
I do need one.
I'll spring for the
It just,
same.
it just says yes on the back of it.
That seems fitting for Bri.
I didn't even catch what he said.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yep. Yep. That's pretty much perfect right there.
Brian is
So,
said with love. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah, I didn't even hear what he said, so I would laugh with y'all, but I don't even know what's going on.
I
So
said
they were.
your bracelet just says yes on the back of it instead of having your specific listings.
Yeah, that's legit. That's legit.
Yep. Yeah, it is. So, news and hobby and all the rest. Gentlemen, we've had a couple things come out from GW Official, PDF-wise, that, well, some of us were expecting, some of us weren't. We're talking about Demons tonight, right, John?
I think Brian is, yes.
All right.
I surely am.
All right, Bri.
Before we get into Demon, I want to do a deep dive real quick on Inductee. Y'all ready for this?
Oh, God.
They suck. Moving on.
All right.
I was happy with mine.
No, they seem fine.
I don't see them taking them that many times over just line infantry. They're not that much of a discount over just tactical squads.
I mean, they're okay. They're just like me, it was just like basically I don't have bolters, I have Volkites. That's literally what the change was.
Yep.
That's about what it was before.
They all seem like they at least do something, unlike what we are about to talk about next. So, I don't think we really need to dig too much into unit profiles and all of that. There's really not many choices in the PDF they released for Demons. But there's some things you really need to understand very well if you're going to use them as an army or even as an allied detachment. First and foremost, Psychers. You can only ever use one psychic power or psychic reaction per turn for every model that has that ability. This is important because the only models in the army that get any psychic abilities are your hierarchs, harbingers, and sovereigns. And you're limited to taking 6 total of any of those in a combination. Max of 2 sovereign. You can bring in the second sovereign using the same logistical benefit you would use to get a second praetor in a marine list. I forget the name of that prime advantage. Another thing, they have, I believe, 8 different etheric dominions. They all give you the Desecrator special rule. It's an interesting rule. Basically, it lets you take a willpower check to confer line onto a unit. How much you get out of the line rule is based upon how well you succeeded on the willpower check. If you met your willpower or beat it by 1, you get line 1. If you beat it by 2, you get line 2. If you beat it by 3 or more, you get line 3. Every single demon unit, I believe, gets this. There are 2 units in the whole PDF that have Vanguard, neither of which are really all that fantastic. But I digress. Sovereigns are going to be very important to have. They are the only HQ choice that really has any great ability to tank damage. While all of the command choices have Eternal Warrior 1, they die very, very fast, even with a 4+ invulnerable save to multi-damage, good AP value shots like laser destroyers, quad laser cannons, demolisher cannons, etc. A Sovereign has, I believe, 7 wounds. A Harbinger has 3, and a Hierarch has 4. Another important thing is all demon units get Fear 1, which, if you're not familiar with Fear, Fear is now a 12-inch bubble out from any unit or model that possesses Fear, and it reduces the soft stats, your leadership, all that, by the value listed. You cannot double dip on Fear. It only applies once, even if you have multiple units that would be affecting the same unit. All of your units are Malefic, which
Makes sense.
it seems like a really strong thing, but after playing a few games with my demons, probably half the wounds I suffered throughout the games were from suffering various statuses and rolling the D3 wounds. Those wounds, you don't get any save except for damage mitigation, which will eat through your guys pretty darn fast. The only damage mitigation you have access to is Feel No Pain 6+ on the Putrid Corruption Etheric Dominion, or Shrouded if you took Telekinesis. The psychic powers and how and when they come into effect is also very, very limited. I think as a rule, they only will ever apply during your active turn. And like I said earlier, you can only do 1 psychic reaction or 1 psychic power for a model in a turn. Some of the psychic powers are pretty strong, but the way they are worded, you won't be able to use them that often. Biomancy, for example, is very specifically worded that you can only trigger it in your turn's assault phase when a unit charges at the very beginning of step 4. So you can't trigger that ability on their assault phase when they charge into you to try and buff your guys with a higher toughness to survive. It's only during your active turn. Pretty much every single demon army you're going to see that's pure demons is going to be maxed out on command. You're going to have to bring a Sovereign and Hierarchs, maybe the other guy who has the Pokeball effect still. He can summon a unit of demons in, and they can charge on the turn that they come in from reserves. But they no longer get the range advantage that they had in 2nd edition. The first model has to be put base to base with the Harbinger when they come in from reserves, and then spread out from there via the normal deep strike rules. Demon Brutes are still a strong unit, but they got some debuffs between the editions. They got a weapon skill drop and an initiative drop. They're probably the best non-HQ unit in the whole list. They get 4 attacks. They have impact attacks, so they get 1 more attack when they charge in. They're T5, Strength 5, and their melee weapons are comparable to Lightning Claws. They have no upgrades that you can take for the unit. You cannot give them a Totem of Dominion. They have no weapon choices. All you get is you can take 3 to 9 of them. That is it. This is another unit that you'll likely see a lot of brutes. They have to do most of the legwork for the army. The army as a whole has practically no shooting. There are a couple units that can take bolt gun statted assault weapons, but they get 1 less shot than a regular bolt gun. And your access to those are once again very limited. Your run-of-the-mill lesser demons can take an upgrade called Totem of Dominion, which helps mitigate the downside to Malefic. If you were to take wounds from failing a leadership test or a cool check from any status-inducing weapon, that just automatically knocks it down to taking 1 wound instead of D3. But the only units that get access to that piece of gear is the Harbinger, who has it for free, lesser demons, and I believe 1 other unit choice in the army. It's not a common item. The army really struggles because it has virtually no shooting. Even if you took the Etheric Dominion that gives you access to Pyromancy, those weapons are not really all that powerful, and you still only get access to them on those maybe upwards of 6 guys. The assault phase has changed more than I think people realize. And since you no longer can run down a unit in combat and destroy the entire unit, you have to kill them all through your attacks. Otherwise, they can get bounced off of the combat, or they can choose to stay if they win the combat or if they drew the combat with you, which really changes up a lot of the game. I think this kind of plays into why knights are struggling right now, like John was talking about earlier. This really makes Dreadnought suffer as well, because if you do not have the sheer volume of attacks that can hit reliably, you're not going to push through enough damage to delete a whole unit in the assault phase, and you'll have to come back at them later on in the game. Or if it was a unit with Vanguard, maybe you succeeded in pushing them off an objective to score those points. But like I said, there's only 2 units in the whole PDF that have Vanguard, and neither of them are brutes. There is an interesting mechanic that you can do with allying in Mechanicum. They have some Mechanicum psychic powers in a sense that lets you boost Malefic units. I have not played with that mechanic at all. It's interesting, especially being able to boost your weapon skill. There's probably some pretty strong use that should be considered with using these units. I don't see you dipping heavily into these Allied Mechanicum, because the only units you'd really want to boost are a squad of brutes going in. The top 3 psychic powers that you're probably going to see a lot of, especially these first 2, because there are 2 etheric dominions that have both of these psychic powers, which you have to buy access to, is telekinesis and divination. The divination powers themselves are not all that spectacular, but the gambit that divination gives you access to allows you to hit on a 2+ in challenges, which is pretty strong. Telekinesis gives you a latent shrouded ability of 4+, which is pretty strong for your big guys to help keep them on the board and doing what they need to be doing. The telekinesis psychic power also gives you a psychic reaction that can confer a 3+ shrouded onto the model that has the power or the unit that they are joined with. So if you want to take advantage of that reaction, you're really only going to want to use it on a Harbinger that's in a squad. They're the only command choice that has the ability to join any of the other demon squads. So bear that in mind when you're building out your lists and looking at all these goodies. The third psychic power that's pretty strong is indeed biomancy as well. The ability to give yourself +2 strength and +2 toughness is very strong, but it only works on that turn where you get the charge off. And as I learned in my first game, the Iron Hands special reaction triggers before step 4, so you don't even get it when they do their special Overwatch, which is pretty funny. Because of the changes to Assault, you really don't want your big, bad HQ guys that seem like they would be really good in hand-to-hand combat with all AP2 weapons that do multiple damage, because they just don't have the ability to leverage a combat to their advantage unless you pile in multiple units into one combat. You know, even taking on a tactical squad, I had this really weird circumstance come up where I charged one hierarch in. He completely flubbed. I lost the combat, and the hierarch died because he failed his routed check and took 3 wounds that he could not save against. So there is some really weird quirks in that regard too.
You would say overall that demons now are not demons from before in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, they somehow got even less options than 2nd edition demons, who got really, really reduced from what they had access to in 1.5 or 1.0.
But isn't this like the first, like the open non-aligned demon?
Yeah,
and
these
just
are the
like,
Ruin Storm ones, not like the dedicated various
Right.
god ones.
Right. So I would think they would be not as potent as some of the, because they're not as specialized as some of the chosen ones for the different demon factions or whatever.
I mean, it
Yeah,
does include Cabanda and all the rest, so. I mean, it's got
which the
Cabanda, Samus, Korvax. So, I mean, they're there.
I mean, like there's the high level ones are there, but like the low level ones are not, which is kind of like, would
Yeah,
you not
I can see it.
agree? I mean, like the high level ones, Chaos Undivided were always very strong, but the non-aligned one, the Chaos Undivided, like just Joe Schmo army demons were never like super crazy, buff. I
they
don't
were
know.
in 1.0.
In 1.0, they were a beast.
Oh, I know.
Last edition, they weren't that. I mean, they were good still. They weren't as
Right.
formidable as 1.0, but they were still pretty damn formidable.
They relied heavily upon your sovereigns really in making it into those charges and running down units after butchering a few guys. That was the strong suit that they had in that edition. Brutes were pretty solid in 2.0.
Yeah, they absolutely were. Of course, I could be wrong. But when I looked through all the rules and everything, I didn't see anything about the turn-based boosts and then loss of said boosts at the end of the game.
They're
On
gone.
stats. Okay, that's what I thought, but I didn't get a chance to go through it too deeply. Just want to make certain I hadn't missed that.
Yep, they took that away. They kind of switched up how some of the command units are. So in 2.0, sovereigns were like nastier demon princes.
Yeah.
And then you had access to the Lord of War, the Archdemon, which was the really big nasty.
Yeah.
The sovereigns now are basically your Archdemon, and your hierarchs are what used to be sovereigns.
Okay.
There's a couple etheric dominions that you'll probably never see used because they're just so weird. They don't really give you any benefit, and
Which ones?
this army needs the help. Let me navigate back out of my notes. Oh, where are you?
I'm right here, buddy.
We're
Thanks,
all here
Jack.
for you. And your medical alert bracelet.
We need to crowdfund that immediately. Oh gosh, where did it go?
I don't know.
Well, the list
we go.
was, yeah. You find it?
I found it. So Heedless Slaughter is really weird. It used to be a really solid etheric dominion. I think it existed in first edition, and it gave you some pretty nasty bonuses to attacks. I think it gave you bonus attacks like rage or something. Now it just makes you immune to being the targets of a psychic blessing or psychic curse. Which, unless you're playing a lot of Thousand Suns, I don't see a lot of psychic anything out there. At least not in the community up here in Michigan. Most people are not super into running librarians. I'm not even sure how much access militia, solar aux have to that kind of thing. Another
Militia
one,
has that stop a charge one, so I don't even necessarily think that it would be that good against limited that in general.
yeah, because that's probably a psychic reaction, right?
But is that psychic reaction a curse if they're playing it on the other one or on the opponent player?
No, not necessarily.
Interactions for psychic stuff is really kind of weird right now.
It's one of
Yeah,
those
it
things
really
that
is.
you've got to know where it goes. You got to play it a lot to know when to use it.
Yeah. Are there any
it's
more
a
that
reaction
really?
curse in the militia.
So then you would actually not be able to use that against Heedless Slaughter Demons.
Odd restriction.
The other
Okay.
one that's really, really kind of weird is Malevolent Artifice. This lets you bring in the Malefic Demon Machines from the Mechanicum book, I believe, using a Prime Advantage slot. It would be cool. I think there's a lot of thematic potential, but I don't remember anything really standing out as all that highly functional. Blood Slaughterers, I think people are really just kind of sad on what happened to them this edition. The Decimator engine is just okay. But you also lose any and all access to taking any psychic powers, which, once again, you're really going to need to help you out the entirety of the army do pretty much anything in the game, especially considering you basically don't get a shooting phase.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side of it, we have two etheric dominions we'll probably see a lot of. Ravenous Dissolution gives you access to telekinesis, divination, telepathy. You can take up to 2 of those powers on a command or champion model, which are going to be all of your big nasties, your hierarchs, sovereigns, that kind of thing. So that gives you, for 40 points, you could take telekinesis and divination and have a more durable, just absolute challenge slaughtering machine. The other one is encroaching ruin, which gives you access to pyromancy, telekinesis, and divination. Encroaching ruin does give you access to the deep strike special rule. All of these etheric dominions give you the desecrator special rule instead of just having it baked into all of the unit choices individually. But deep strike being what it is right now, it's kind of a hard system to utilize.
Okay. So you actually have played a couple of games with demons as the demon player, correct?
Yes, sir.
What is your overall feel for it compared to how it used to be in both first and in second?
First edition, they were too much.
I mean, I think we can all agree with that based on our experiences in first edition. When I fought them, they were fucking horrible to fight against. And I played World Eaters, and no, that was not fun.
Yeah, they were pretty wild in first edition. Plus, the sheer amount of options you got was really cool in first edition, even if some of them were a little bit over the top. You had access to all sorts of different weapons and upgrades to give your guys shooting abilities, better melee abilities. That I liked a lot. They basically got rid of that when they went over to 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
2.0 demons were functional but broken still. There wasn't a lot to the army that worked well on the table outside of the archdemon and the sovereigns. And those were the complete opposite. They were way too good at what they did. And it really made games unfun. At least in the games that I had the opportunity to play with them. They would just run forward, touch units, and typically kill 4 guys, and then run the rest of the unit down and kill them all.
Yep, that sounds about right.
This edition, you don't even have that ability. And it really just feels like everything in this army list is an afterthought. And I really, really do hope that they are going to stand true to their word, that they're going to release additional units that will be more in line with the different marks, like actual bloodletters, actual plague bearers, etc. I would suspect they plan on releasing those kinds of units in Journal Tacticas.
I could see that, and I would hope they would, because, I mean, obviously, each of the God Aligned demons does need to be represented since they're going to be available from GW, and they want to be able to have use of cross kits. So,
Well, they don't want cross kits anymore, though. That's the problem. Look what they just did with drop pods.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really sure about that. That one's really strange to me.
Same thing with not Grey Knights, Custodes. Like most of the 40k Custodes line you can't use in Heresy.
Yeah, the ones that have been ported over got nuked.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very odd. And my really big observation as well for the Desecrator's ability, not only do you not want your big bad guys to be in combat unless it's really skewed to your advantage and you know you're likely going to win, all of your guys with higher willpower are going to be your Sovereign, your Hierarch, Inner Harbinger. Those are the guys that you're going to want standing on objectives to try and get that line 3 off. I didn't have as much of an issue with keeping pace for victory points in my second game. My first game I played with Demons was very similar experience to what John had, where, my opponent was scoring 10, 12 VPs a turn, and I was lucky if I could get 6 or 7, and it quickly ran away. I think that game wound up resulting in me being tabled, and my opponent easily had 40 victory points to my, I want to say maybe 18. Much like the Knight Lord of War Warlord, if they kill your sovereign, he is worth buku points because you get. Oh, no, it's not quite the same situation. What happened to me in my first game was my sovereign got popped by a Spartan. He just could not withstand all the las cannon fire. And my opponent got 6 VP just from killing him because it was a first strike and he killed my warlord. And you can't hide this guy in a unit. He has to be out by himself. And he only gets a 3+ armor save and a 4+ embalm with Eternal Warrior 1.
That's the same problem Knights have, since they're so big and they don't block line of sight. You really can't hide the Night Warlord either.
Yep. So all in all, I still think it's a cool army. I will plan on still playing it. But it's kind of like Militia of old, where they weren't exactly great at doing anything. You play it because you love it.
I mean, that's kind of John with the militia. So yeah, I
those
get
2
that.
Final Militia in a nutshell.
Well, thank you for that pretty deep dive there. I know we didn't go over stats on everything, but like you said, we really didn't need to.
Yeah, it's a free PDF that's available on the website. There's not a lot to go through. The units themselves are very generic, virtually no access to any upgrades. But they have just an insane amount of things that you have to know and understand about all their other abilities, with the etheric dominions, adding stuff in, desecrators, fear, how psychic powers work. They are, well, to use the joke about Thousand Suns, you need an Excel spreadsheet just to know how to play your army.
That's about right. Hopefully they do some more drops for it, just to bring stuff up to speed. But knowing GW, it's free. As soon as they can put stuff into other PDFs, or not PDFs, but other rule books, they'll take away our PDF stuff. So
Yep, I can
we'll
see them
supersede
doing
it.
like a journal for each of the different paths of chaos or whatever, because the journals up to this point really haven't had a whole lot unit-wise. It's mostly been fluff and like overall rules for the
Fluff,
game,
a few small units, like the one that's coming
and
up.
then you'll get like maybe 3 or 4 units. So I can't really see them doing like all of the demons in like one book, unless it's like a kind of like the Knight Titan size book, which was still what, half the size of the 2 different Marine books. So
Yeah, sounds about right.
that would be kind of, for me, that would kind of be a stretch for like all the demon rules. Maybe, I mean, you could try and fluff it up war-wise, but I think it would be pretty tough.
I mean, there's a few encounters in the novels that you could use to fluff things out, like during the advance on Terra. During Terra itself, you could include the Cornate demons there. You could include Soneshi demons as well.
Yeah,
Cygnus.
There's a bunch of
and
other little battlefields where those happen, so I
Yeah.
can see them putting stuff out like that.
Well,
I can
even
see them doing that to put more stuff that's not just the Ruin Storm style generic demons out there. So yeah.
Beta Garmin, wasn't there a fair bit of accidental
Demon
openings
possessed
in the
Titan, yeah.
Imperium?
yeah.
Yeah, because all the slaughter. Yep, they could do stuff there too.
I mean, if you really wanted to go, if you were running out of room, or I mean, needed more stuff to build the book out, you could also do Dark Admech too.
Yeah, you could really find a way to do a Dark Edmund book and then bring possessed versions of all the War Machines over as well.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of neat. And then make them available for a demon book or the Ruin Storm PDF stuff.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you already have Dark Admech in Legion Imperialis, so it's kind of like, are you gonna? I mean, like, come on, when are you gonna do it? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, like the models, if you've seen them in Legion Imperialis, people have already scaled them up to 28 mil.
Oh yeah.
Predators, and there's enough detail in them that it's going to be very easy to do. So
Yeah. And they look unique compared to the other stuff, and they look cool. And I think there's enough people out there who would jump on that opportunity to play those.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a ton of people that want Dark Admech. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's still very early in 3.0. So
It is. It is. Well, gentlemen, do we have anything else we're touching on this eve?
ourselves, what?
No.
Jack's meet.
Event shout-outs?
Michigan GT coming up next weekend, October 3rd through the 5th.
It will be here before you know.
The Kentucky 30K meeting occurred yesterday, the 27th, in Ashland, Kentucky. So if you weren't there, sorry you missed it. I talked to Keith before it got moved from Lexington to Ashland because the people who responded. So the Lexington people didn't show up, so he moved it to Ashland. Maybe doing a Lexington one again sometime here in the next few months. Don't really know yet.
Theorix has an event in November 14th, 15th, and 16th at the Overland Park Convention Center in Kansas. And then obviously my 3-day event in January 16th, 17th, and 18th. Right now, wherever Dallas Games Marathon ends up.
Bama Heresy was also held yesterday, so shout out to those folks who showed up. Apparently, a lot of new players showed up, had some fun. Yep. Glad to hear that.
They also have that was just a learn how to play Heresy 3.0. Yep. They've got an event coming up in October.
Cool.
It was sold out. I think one spot opened up, but it's probably been taken by now. I know they were also doing a big dice order too for like people that were interested, but I think tomorrow's the last day for the dice order. But the big thing with Bama Heresy is they've moved everything over to Discord, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so.
So if you want to get in touch with them, if you're in Tennessee, Georgia, Mississippi, or Bama, you need to join their Discord to get the up-to-date information for them now.
Well, I know that with Facebook groups going away, it's made it a lot more difficult to communicate with groups via Facebook that way. Yep. Even though it hasn't left yet, people are already transitioning out. Yep. I know we ourselves, our groups have been transitioning over here for a while now.
Okay, so I'm really unconnected apparently to the happenings of Facebook. Facebook groups are going away?
No, Facebook communities are going away.
Community chats.
Don't worry about it, Jack.
Okay.
Not any of the groups that we have, but like the accountable listener or the HABB host chats, those aren't going anywhere. Okay.
That's just like a messaging group.
None of the ones that you're in that we regularly bullshit in that you always ignore.
You're good.
Are these?
But like, if you the example would be like Bama Heresy. So like they have a Facebook page, and then directly attached to the Facebook page, they had group like chats and groups that were in Messenger, okay, like different, events, painting, yada yada yada, like we do in the Discord, okay, those are going away.
Okay, so so the groups that I somehow got entered into when I liked a page, those are going away.
Some
No,
of them, yeah.
Okay.
The group is staying. The chat is going away. That's it.
Yeah. So, like, for example, the Kentucky 30K chat that you were in, that one's going to go away.
So, like the Ohio 30K Horse Heresy, Ohio 30K General Chat, that something that I've
Yes.
never been a part of.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Now I'm back to not caring again. Okay, great. Thank you for your
Yes,
help.
the ones, a number of groups that you are somehow in that you don't actually pay attention are going away. A number of the other chats that you are in that you still don't pay attention to, those are going to be fine.
Look, life is hard.
We promise.
Life is so very hard anymore.
But it's important to remember, Jack, when you're starting up your ASMR meat channel, you need to do it on Discord now.
I love you.
Yep.
I love you, Bri. I love you so much.
I'm here for you, bud.
Yeah, so the long and short of it is, if your group that you're in for Heresy, you might want to check and make sure that they're not losing their Facebook Messenger or whatever. Just check their Discords.
Or don't. We're not your dad.
Or don't. Yeah, I'm not twisting your arm and making you clean your room like I have to.
Look, like one of the, and this, I promise you, this is actually on topic right now, is one of the podcasts I listen to. They very much preach the insidification of the internet anymore, and they very much preach, like, internet's going to go back to a very much segmented, like you're in your own groups, which, good or bad, that's just where it's heading. So it's a good thing to make sure that you are part of your groups that you want to be a part of. With obviously stuff that gets announced, like me, like I'm not chronically online, but had no clue Facebook community is going along. Make sure you join the groups you want to be a part of. Make sure you're part of our Discord if you want to continue to hear what's going on. Make sure you're part of whatever local, gaming group, Discord or whatever it is. Make sure you're part of it so you know what's going on. Like, I wish I said this is a whole entire bit about the Facebook thing. It's not a bit. Be a part of your group. Be as active in your community as you want to be and as you can be.
Yes.
I think that's a good way of summing it all up.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all the Heresy releases for GW are supposed to be next weekend. Like this, it'd be the first week of October weekend.
Yes, because of the 2-week window. Now the stuff that has been on pre-order for now 2 weeks will finally be dropped and released as of the 4th, which is next Saturday, as of today's recording.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But it's very important, y'all. Remember, keep calm and pocket jack on.
Yeah. And if you can't find us because somehow you're part of one of the Facebook groups that somehow magically disappears soon, you can find us at heresypodcast.com, and they'll get you a link to the Facebook page that is not going away, and to the Discord, where you can find us and hang out with us and listen to our nonsense.
Or find one of us on Instagram or Facebook or
whatever else.
Yeah, Twitter. Even though I have Twitter, but I don't look at Twitter. If you message me on Twitter, I'll see it in 6 to 9 months, and I'll get you taken care of.
We have Twitter. We've had Twitter for like 2 years. We've posted once, and I don't think I remember the login anymore. So we may not have Twitter anymore. Who knows?
I blame John.
I blame Dave.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. This story deserves to be told because it does need to be told. John, why don't you go ahead and tell us about what Chat GPT?
So I was listening to some podcast or something, and they were talking about how Chat GPT knew a lot about things, and so I asked it to tell us about us. And so it started off by saying we're good. The podcast. And so I started off with it said we're a podcast. It's really cool, specific core to the 40K community. And then it starts talking like that we make our listeners engage in like these grueling, really short window painting contests,
I blame John.
like weekly painting contests. And so I was like, oh, okay, tell me more about the podcast. Then it listed the hosts. It said John, regular contributor, Duncan, one of the more prominent voices mentioned often, Jack, creator of the podcast and one of the hosts, and Jacob, part of the host group. So
But
it just
don't forget,
didn't like Jamie or Brian.
yeah, fuck
It's-
Jamie and Brian, but there is Dave.
Yeah, so then I said, okay, well, tell me more about these people. And it said, okay, I'll give you a specific list of the hosts. Jack, creator, John, regularly involved, Duncan, also regular, semi/regular, Jacob shows up occasionally, Zach appeared in episode 64, Ned is a regular contributor. And then I said, oh, is there any unconfirmed? And it said, episodes mentioned Dave. Apparently,
Yep.
Duncan made a 2K list.
Because of Jack.
It was
Yeah,
Dave.
it says the team, parentheses, Jack, made Duncan make a 2K list for Dave one time. And so it assumed that Dave was a contributor. And I said, oh, can you make us what would a podcast sound like from Chat GPT?
Oh my god, that was the best
And it
thing
says,
ever.
I'll read it. Intro music, 0 to 5 minutes. Theme music plays. Epic over-the-top orchestral Warhammer music with low-budget synth fade-out. Jack, welcome to Heresy Accountabilibuddies, the podcast where we swear we're going to finish that Spartan this week and definitely won't spend 5 hours dry-fitting one shoulder pad and crying. Duncan, and where we make solemn hobby vows to break them with the precision of an Iron Hand's rite of war. Dave, who the fuck is Dave? Speak for yourself. I actually painted something this week, like 2 whole models with highlights. Jack, whoa, slow down there, Fulgrim.
I swear to God, Jack has actually said that, though.
Yeah, I think he has.
Oh my god.
And so then Jack and Duncan keep talking. Jack and Duncan and Dave check in. Duncan, so I promised to finish my Sons of Horus just Aaron, and I did, but they're all armed with left-handed combi meltas because I ordered the wrong bits and said screw it. Jack, perfect, very thematic. They're traitors, so their name is naturally off. Dave, I was working on my Imperial Fist Leviathan Dreadnought. I may have dropped it mid-weathering. It's now magnetized, not by design, but by trauma. Jack, you're one of us now.
It's so close. It's scary.
I really want to meet this Dave guy. I really do.
Like, where's Dave? We just need Dave.
Listeners, we need Dave. We need someone to find Dave so we can bring Dave on and he can.
Oh, it gets better. What are our goals for next episode? Duncan, I'm aiming to paint one vehicle, just one. I will not let the resin win this time. Dave, I want to finish a fire raptor without snapping the wings off again. Jack, I'm assembling my word bearer's Ashen Circle, and this time I will not convert them into something else halfway through. Probably.
Oh my god.
We need to make this a t-shirt. Like a t-shirt with just like a "My name is Dave" sticker on it or something.
Hi, I'm Dave.
Yeah, put Heresy Accountabilibuddies staff member Dave on there.
What is it from 2001 Space Odyssey? You need to have like Hal, but it's like name is Dave. And it's
And
like
our
the next
our
member
closing
from-
wrap up.
Oh Lord.
The closing wrap up is we shout out some people that painted on Instagram, and then Jack. Don't forget you can find us on Instagram, Threads, and the deep echoing void of the Eye of Terror. If you've got hobby progress, share it. If you've got hobby shame, share that too. Duncan. And remember, if you're not happy with your paint job, just call it battle damage.
Threads.
Did Dave have anything to say about that?
No, Dave cut out.
Dave already signed off.
Oh my Lord.
Outro music fades out with a servo skull chanting litanies of frustration and binary.
All right.
Oh god.
All right. Well, everybody, I think we know. Oh God,
Here's
there's
Dave.
more.
Here's Dave. The lore minute with Jack. It's 5 minutes long. Jack, did you know that Alfarius once impersonated an Imperial Army general for 3 years just to reposition Ammo Depot? That's not infiltration. That's long-term relationships. Dave, 3 years? That's longer than most Horus Heresy armies stay unpainted.
Oh my lord.
It's so close to being the truth.
It really is. Somehow Chat GPT knows Jack really well.
Oh my god.
And Dave. It knows Dave so well.
Nope.
Dave, wherever you are, we miss you. We want you to come on to the cast and talk to us again, apparently. Well, I think we've shouted out everything we need to shout out.
I think we're good. Shout out to Dave.
I'm dying.
John, you want to go ahead and call it here and take us out?
Yeah, everybody, thank you for joining on this, the 142nd episode of the Heresy Accountabilibuddies Podcast. I'm John, and I've been joined by
Brian.
Duncan.
Jack.
And Jamie.
Always remember to stay accountable to your buddies, to your friends, and your hobby. And we'll talk to you next time.
And don't forget,
and
if you
Dave.
have hobby progress,
Dave.
send it in. If you don't have hobby progress and have hobby same, send it in. 00110011111001100.
And subscribe and